Bad Boys. Yes, Bad Boys. Bad Boys 3. Will Smith. Now, I wasn't really going to go and see this, but my friend John and I were talking about our options, and he mentioned Bad Boys, and he said that, it's a cop movie starring Will Smith, and I was like, oh, I've seen a cop movie starring Will Smith. It's got, like, elves and dwarfs and orcs and things. It's called Bright. It's on Netflix. And and he translated to me, and he was like, oh, yeah, it's basically Bright is like, it's just like Bad Boys, but with these fantasy characters. So I thought I'd give it a go. And I'm quite glad I did. I mean, it really isn't usually my kind of thing, but neither is Bright. Bright was my first, like, big kind of action, lots of guns and explosions-y kind of film, because I'm not usually into that sort of thing. And I watched it because it's Will Smith, and, oh, bless, I can't remember her name, but there's the actress that plays the elf that helps them. Huge fan of hers, love her to bits. From basically everything that I've seen her in, I've absolutely loved her. So it was her, Will Smith, and the theme of sort of this society where fantasy characters, fantasy species are just a part of our society, and they're just as human as we are, kind of thing, just as flawed as we are. I thought that was absolutely fascinating, and I loved it. It was a very flawed film, but I loved it. And I hope that they make more. So, knowing that essentially Bad Boys is like that, but minus the orcs and elves and whatnot, I thought, oh, go on, why not? I'll give it another go. And I did also think, hey, today I've already watched the third film in a franchise, having not seen the other films. So let's just keep that theme going. So I did. I kept the theme going. Opening sequence was we jumped straight into the action. And it was fun. It was really fun, and I really fell in love with the characters really quickly. They were so quippy, like all the dialogue, the back and forth, was really good. And then there was the punchline, and then it was like, okay, yep, I approve of this. Yep, I think I'm going to enjoy this film. I mean, it was so full of swearing from the get-go as well. Like, and I was so offended, but like, in a good way. Is it possible to be offended in a good way? Like, I don't normally like things that are just full of swear words, but I guess because they were doing it in a silly way, it makes it more acceptable, and it makes it like less offensive. I don't know, but possibly because it's Will Smith. Possibly because they're, it's a buddy cop movie. They are buddies, and they are being buddy copy. But whatever way you look at it, I after a while I just desensitized to the swearing, I guess, and just kind of went, okay, yep, whatever. It's just part of it. There was a lot of blood though, not in the opening sequence. The opening sequence is pretty much blood free. But the sort of the bit that leads up to the bad guy reveal was quite bloody. I was a bit shocked by that, I will confess. I was a bit like, whoa, okay, that is intense. Was not expecting that amount of blood that early on in the film, and in a 15 rated film. But after that, there's not much blood, like, during the rest of the film, or gore or anything, so, well, you get people get shot, and there's, blood coming out of their gun wounds, but the openings, the bit that introduces the bad guy is quite brutal. It's not gunshots, let me put it that way. I don't want to spoil. The plot, I will confess, I spent most of the film thinking that I'd missed something. I spent most of the film thinking that the bad guys were like returning from the previous films. Turns out I was wrong. They are new, unique bad guys for this film. But it's just the way that they were acting, like they were on a personal vendetta and everything, and all the it felt like maybe they were coming back from the other films, like they were bad guys from 1 or 2. But that's not the case. The reveal towards the end was a tad predictable, but I feel they covered it rather well. You know, it was done very well. There was definitely some redemption going on for several characters. It's like you've got like Will Smith's character goes through a lot of different character arcs in the film. One of which is, you know, just admitting that he is flawed and he's maybe too violent and stuff like that, you know. And you got his buddy goes through this thing of not wanting to be violent, which is a bit difficult in a violent ensued, you know, a film packed full of violence. And then you got the addition of, like, there's this team of this new team of characters called Ammo. I can't remember what it stands for, but they were called Ammo, like the team. And they were fantastic. They were a really good addition. I would watch entire films just based around that team, you know, minus the bad boys. They were a really good team, and I thought that they melded quite well with the bad boys as well. They melded quite well in a they are complete and utter opposites kind of way. Like, the joke being that the Ammo people are very tactical and very think first, shoot later, and they use rubber bullets and stuff like that. Like, you know, they're trying to minimize casualties, and then you've got the bad boys who are just like, yeah, let's throw a grenade in there. You know? So it's kind of, they work really well together because they have such opposite tactics. Which was quite an interesting dynamic between them. One of the actors who is part of the Ammo team is Vanessa Hudgens, who was in High School Musical, and she's a really good action star. She looked incredible, like she pulled off the action sequences so well. And we knew she was capable of action. She has done action before, and so we knew she was capable. But I feel like her character in this was she was sexy and cool and independent, and you know, she was just a really fantastic character. We also there was an actor who does has a recurring role in Riverdale. And again, I've never seen him in an action role, but he just, it was just great. It just worked. The soundtrack was really cool. I'm not sure who did the soundtrack. Original music by Lorne Balfour, apparently. I don't know who that is. There was something very familiar about the music, like, I couldn't quite put my finger on it, you know, but it did feel very familiar. It could be that the music felt familiar because perhaps I've heard of the soundtrack to the original 2 films. And the thing about franchises is that even if a new musician takes over, they do try to keep the essence of the original film. So you'll often sort of hear the original riff, for instance. So I quite enjoyed the music. The special effects were really good. The direction was quite beautiful in places. You know, for such a violent film, it was quite beautiful in places. Lots of uses of like drones and helicopters, quite clearly. There was a drone that was used quite a lot during the film, actually, like as a plot point, which was quite cool. Very modern of them. Yeah, so there's that. Lots of we had explosions with slow-mo walking and driving away from explosions and stuff like that, which is apparently a thing in action films. I wouldn't know because I haven't really seen many action films, but that was fun. I know it's kind of a trope, and they embraced the trope. They went with it, and it worked. It was fun. It was nice to see a villainess. Always good to see a villainess in a film. My one huge negative for the film is the pre-credits scene that quite clearly sets up another film. I didn't like that. I feel like that's really pushing it. It's like, okay, we kind of get why you made another film. The fans wanted another film, and I did just sit down and enjoy this new film that you've made. But there doesn't need to be another one. Come on, there doesn't need to be another one. But they're making another one, aren't they? They are totally making another one. Because they're going to make a fortune from this. At least I would hope they would. Obviously, it's a bit complicated with everything with COVID. But there doesn't need to be another one. But they're totally going to make another one. So yeah, there was that. And I hate to be like a nitpicker, and I hate to be brutal, but honestly, that takes away an entire number from me, from the rating, because that means that the film is less complete. And an incomplete film means less of a rating for me. So I would have said, let's see, I'd give it a solid, let's see, it's a tricky one, because I enjoyed it, but it's not usually my kind of thing, but it definitely had its moments. It was fun, it was cool, it was, the characters were good, but it was also very flawed in a lot of ways. There were a lot of plot gaps, a lot of things that didn't work for me. I don't know. 6.5. Let's give it 6.5, because I can't decide between 6 or 7, so I'm going to give it a 6.5. I'm sure that fans of the franchise will rank it higher, because there were definitely a lot of things that went over my head. There were a lot of returning characters, I could tell, and sort of references to the other films. But it stands well on its own, it does. And I think that perhaps people that haven't seen the other Bad Boys films, but who enjoy action films generally, or buddy cop films, or whatever, would enjoy the film more than I did. I'm not the target market. I am the opposite of the target market. But it worked for me. I did enjoy it. So, yeah, 6.5. Highly enjoyable, but not like, I'm not going to watch it again anytime soon. But it wasn't a waste of my money. It wasn't a waste of my time. So go see it, or watch it on DVD, or whatever. If you're a fan of the franchise, I recommend it even more. So, I'm done reviewing. Until next time, you geek, therefore you are. Thank you for listening. Please remember to like and comment and share if you enjoyed, or if you found this informative. And subscribe for more. And we'll see you next time. I have been Illisia. Thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Bye.
We geek, therefore we are. We geek, therefore we are. We're the Geeketeers.